Okay, here's some marketing tips for you, things that I've learned that really, I think will help you. Serve your small slice of the population. You can't be all things to all people. I have this theory that a lot of times when people say they want to aspire to be a or they aspire to be an author, so they ask, or a musician, but let's just say an author. So they ask themselves, well, what's a successful author? What would that look like? And they automatically think of the best-selling. I think of Stephen King and all these, and Dan Brown, the Da Vinci Code, or whatever their topic is. And so that's their sort of idea of success. So well, how do those people get out? Well, they're in bookstores and they're on the Today Show, and that's what success is. And so people have this, I think, misguided view that you have to be a household name, you have to be in big media to be a success. And it used to be that way. There's a book called The Long Tail by Chris Anderson that I encourage you to read. And he talks about, we used to live in more of a black and white world where there were hits and misses. Either you were a household name, everybody knew who you were, or you were a failure in music, in art, and creativity. These days, the hits aren't nearly as big as they used to be. They actually compared the sales figures for the top 10 albums of 2007 with the top 10 albums of 2000. And I don't know if you know this, but in the music business, the year 2000 was the biggest year, money-making year in the history of music, and it's gone downhill ever since then. But the number one selling album in 2000 sold like 13 million copies or something, or 10 at least. There's some crazy figure. The top selling album in 2007 only sold like 3.5 million. It wasn't even as much as the 10th album in 2000. So basically, it used to be, if you look on a graph, it used to be the hits were way up here, and then there was a steep drop off. Everybody else was lower on this curve here. Now things are flattened out more. The hits aren't as high as they used to be, and the curve is slower down. People are serving each other serving in niches now because of all the, all the cable channels, all the internet opportunities. So there are tons of people making a good living in art, music, film, especially in this digital age that are working under the radar. You've never heard of them, but they're making a good living. And I'm actually an example of that. I do pretty well selling these books. We bought a house last spring. It's a ranch home with a deck and a walkout basement. I don't know, I go into these details. It's a nice neighborhood. It's not a mansion or anything, but most people would look at that and not think this is what a self-published author would be able to do. But I've done that, and I'm not a household name. I can go to the grocery store and not be recognized. Most of you probably never heard of me before today. But in my little niche of independent music marketing, if I go to a music conference, I'm sort of a little mini celebrity there. So I serve my niche, my little slice. It could be like 1/10 of 1,000th of 1% of the whole population of the world, but it's enough to sustain me and help me live my dream. So figure out what your little slice of the population is that you can serve. Your slice can be geographical. It can be a demographic, and with the internet, the cool thing about the internet is that it used to be people, and I'll say this, I'm on an internet panel tomorrow, I'll probably repeat this, but people like to congregate with like-minded people. People that share their worldview and all that stuff. And so, but it used to be prior to the internet that we were limited by geography, and so you hung out with people from work and from church and the corner bar and all that stuff. But it was geographically based. Unless you traveled, you really your little circle of influence was just in your hometown. With the internet, people are still doing what they've always done, congregating with like-minded people, but they're doing it all over the world. And it's a great way, that's really how I think I'm able to make a living, is I got people all over the world that read my stuff because they found me and they congregate, and I figured out where they hung out, what websites they visit, what email newsletters they subscribe to, so on and so forth. I make sure I have a presence there to be in front of them. And I kind of, actually, effective marketing is as much about who you don't promote yourself to as it is, you have limited time and resources to focus, so focus it where it's going to have the most effect.